everybody. I'm going to try and keep this a little bit short this week. Getting prepared for the draft, which starts in, let's see, 24 hours and 10 minutes as of the time I'm recording this. Right now, it seems like everybody believes that the Reds have it down to left-handed pitcher Brendan McKay out of Louisville or high school right-handed pitcher Hunter Green. Now, there's always a chance that they could go in a different direction. I remember at this point last year, all the national, draft writers were saying that if A.J. Puck was there for the Reds, he was their guy. Well, he was there for the Reds, and they did not take him. They ended up taking Nick Senzel, which, that looks like a pretty good pick so far. So you never really know how things are going to work out. But, it seems that everybody's on board with it's going to be one of those two guys right now. I guess we'll see. One thing I did want to talk about with Hunter Green is I've seen a lot of this online lately, and I can definitely make the argument that he's the best player in this draft. I've actually got him ranked 4th in the current class, behind right-handed pitcher Kyle Wright out of Vanderbilt, Austin Beck, who's a high school outfielder, high school left-handed pitcher Mackenzie Gore, he's Hunter Green. Then I've got Hunter Green 4th. I definitely make the argument that he's a top player in this draft class, and I don't think it's too much of a stretch to say that he is. There's plenty of people that do think that, but it just seems that there's a lot of hype going into Hunter Green right now, and I definitely understand it. The guy, he's been up to 102 miles per hour. He reportedly hit 101 miles per hour in a bullpen session over the weekend in Minnesota. The Twins, who have the #1 pick, brought him in and had a private workout with him there, along with some other players. And he hit 101 miles per hour on their gun there. So there's definitely a large upside with Hunter Green there. But I've seen people call him a generational talent. When I think generational talent in terms of the draft, I think of guys like King Griffey Jr., Alex Rodriguez, Bryce Harper, guys who unquestionably were the top guy in their draft. Guys who had very little development left to be a quality Major League player. All three of those guys were in the Major Leagues at 19 years old. Alex Rodriguez actually got there as an 18-year-old. Not for long, didn't play much, didn't play well as an 18-year-old. But, that's the kind of guy when I think of generational talent that we're talking about. Looking back the past few years, I'm not seeing too large of a difference between a guy like Hunter Green and the #2 overall pick 3 years ago, Tyler Kolek, who, when he was coming out of the draft, he set 96 to 98 miles per hour with his fastball, and it had movement. One of the things that Hunter Green, his fastball's a little bit straight, and he throws 95 to 99 miles per hour. Both guys can reach 102, or could coming out of the draft. But Tyler Kolek had a better breaking ball than Hunter Green has right now. Wasn't quite as athletic, but Tyler Kolek also had offers to play college football, so definitely not a non-athlete. So when we hear things like generational talent, I think that people are getting a little bit carried away with Hunter Green there. I would definitely be happy if the Reds decided to take him with the #2 overall pick, assuming that he were there. As I said before, I think there's a lot of upside there with him. But I do think that the hype train has gotten a little bit out of control when it comes to Hunter Green. I don't know. I think that people are just taking it a little bit too far. Now, what'll be interesting to see is there's been rumors probably for the last couple of weeks that the Reds have been trying to talk to guys to quote-unquote float guys down to the #32 pick that they've got. Basically, what they did last year with Taylor Trammell in trying to find a guy who's a talent in that 10 to 15 range that has a strong college commitment that can demand a higher signing bonus than they may get, and have those guys fall down the draft a little bit so that the team can select them and pay them well over slot with the #32 pick. They'll definitely have to get more creative this year than they were last year because the #2 pick doesn't carry as much slot value as it did last year. So even if you sign a guy for under the value at #2 this year, you're saving less money. So you have to make that up somewhere down further in the draft. But that seems to be kind of what the Reds are doing right now. So trying to peg somebody to fall in that #32 spot for them, it's a little bit tougher to do because you don't really know how much money they're going to be able to play with. I think that if they do wind up selecting someone like Hunter Green, for example, he's going to cost them more money than if they go with, Brendan McKay or maybe even Kyle Wright, if that's the guy that they go with, who, he's number 1 on my draft board. And some people do have him going number 1 overall, depending on where you look. So, I don't know, we'll have to wait and see tomorrow night kind of how that goes. There have been some rumors lately that, a guy like Kyle Wright could fall down to number 4 or number 5 in the draft, which, again, I think that's a little bit crazy, because I do think that he's the safest pick in this draft and definitely has just about as much upside as anybody. So, I don't know. It's going to be fun. Definitely going to be stressful for me once we get into Tuesday and Wednesday, where they'll have the the other 38 rounds of the draft after just doing 2 on the first day. But I'll definitely have coverage all day Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday with as much information as I can get on all of the 41 draft picks that the Reds made. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, head on over to RedsMinorLeagues.com over the next couple of days. I'll do my best to get as much information as I possibly can on everybody. But yeah, so I just wanted to put out a quick little video on some generalized draft thoughts. There's probably 5 guys that I'd be perfectly fine with if they landed at number 2. I don't think there's a big gap between those top 5 guys. Now I want a good hamburger with some mushrooms, but that's a different story. But all right, if you guys like this video, hit the red subscribe button here on YouTube, and you'll get updates when I do things like this or upload videos of the prospects playing throughout the season. But until next time, thanks for tuning in. See ya.